Tonight on Joy News Prime, Auditor General uncovers misapplication of free senior high school funds worth more than 19 million cedis, including diversion of 4.5 million cedis to hold workshop. Also in this bulletin, 3 years after Ghana signed the ambitious SINOHYDRO contract, which was to be executed by 2020, government has accessed just $100 million out of $640 million, with none of the projects and the deal completed.
This is one of the rogues that was touted a few years back as one that has been approved under the SINOHYDRO deal. It was supposed to have started years ago, but it hasn't started.
We have a response from the government as the minority in parliament demands termination and repackaging of the deal, which it says has failed to live up to expectations.
We are not against government building roads, but this is a very convoluted, unrealistic, and a contract they have signed. This is not a viable deal. They have to repackage it and find another way of completing.
Plus, government aims at totally cutting importation of rice to zero by 2024 as part of efforts to whittle down the country's import bill and boost the local economy.
We promise the people of this country that by 2023, 2024, Ghana will be self-sufficient in rice. In preparation, the biggest bottleneck is not the farmer or the land or the seed. It's to do with the amount of milling capacity.
Details as our Greek minister tours the rice factory and farms in the Volta and Oti regions. In business threats to inflation rate and growth force monetary policy committee of the Bank of Ghana to maintain policy rate at 13.5%.
You would see that the monetary policy rate itself is at 13.5%. So we have done our part in signaling the direction of interest rates. Unfortunately, that transmission to the longer dated instruments will depend on the stance of fiscal policy.
Also, Director of Communication at the Presidency, Eugene Ahin, says Northong MP Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa peddled falsehood in his recent claims that President Akufo-Addo rented luxurious private jets for his recent travels to the UK.
Of Parliament for Northong had peddled falsehoods when he indicated that the President on the 28th of July, when he went to the Global Education Summit in the UK, had used the LXDIO Boeing aircraft.
But the MP Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa still stands by his story. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Do stay tuned in. Many thanks for choosing us. We begin this evening with the Auditor General, who has uncovered the misapplication of free senior high school funds worth more than 19 million cedis. The funds had been diverted from the Free Senior High School Secretariat. In one instance, 4.5 million cedis was diverted to hold a training workshop. Details in the following News Desk report.
The 2020 report of the Auditor General makes for grim reading. Irregularities at the Education Ministry have caused the taxpayer millions of cedis. The misapplication of free senior high school funds stands out. Auditors found that officials violated Section 7 of the Public Financial Management Act, which mandates a principal spending officer in a covered entity to ensure the regularity and proper use of money appropriated in that covered entity. According to the auditors, between January and July 2019, a total of 19,217,802 cedis was received for free SHS to be utilized for various planned activities. Instead of using it for the stipulated free SHS activities, the amount was rather advanced to 2 institutions without definite terms of recovery. The auditors note that as at the time of the audit, March 2020, Management had not recovered the amount from the beneficiaries. The details show that 4.5 million cedis was used by the Ghana Education Service to organize the second phase of a training workshop to support the implementation of the new pre-tertiary curriculum. 14.7 million was used by the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment to print and supply teacher resource packs, training guides, teacher resource supplementary and curriculum framework documents. The Auditor General was emphatic that management of the Free SHS Secretariat under the Education Ministry should ensure that the total amount of 19.2 million advanced to the two organizations are paid back into the Free SHS account.
Scores of residents in the coastal community of Glife in the Ablekuma West Municipality of the Greater Accra region have been rendered homeless after violent tidal waves destroyed their houses last week. The only health facility in the area risked collapse as work on the Dansoman Sea defense has stalled for more than 2 years. The affected residents, mainly women and children, say they've been forced to sleep outside at the mercy of the weather. For Joy in My Community this week, Manuel Coranting visited the Glife area and now reports.
Glife is a coastal community which lies about 100 meters north of the Atlantic Ocean. There are no government schools here, no government hospitals, or even government-controlled public toilets. Unemployment is quite high in this area too. While they grapple with these challenges, there's another one which is threatening their very lives and livelihoods. Tidal waves. Violent, destructive, and ferocious tidal waves. Every week, at least 5 houses here are washed into the sea by the tidal waves. This is as a result of rising sea levels occasioned by climate change. Not even the Sea Defense Project here has prevented buildings from being washed away by the sea.
For years, ni buildings here. Properties it has been here for long.
But he is not alone. Kwesi, his neighbor, has been up since 3 a.m. planting beams to support the fast eroding foundation of his building.
As you can see, the way the waves is, it's very, very, very scary. But what will you do? I have a 2-year kid, very, very young, who is with me, and it's not safe for her.
The kids here are literally petrified. They look on helplessly as the only places they have known to be home continue to be broken away, building after building.
To commit, it's a commature affair, but I'm in baby Ameda. And I'm more than one Ameda, you may said I knew. And I'm never my minimum papa in Naipia. Yeah, but she's not dining in the elbow. But now I want to my chain. I said I may go school.
The contractor has had calls to alter the design of the remaining 400 meters to allow for a landing site for the fishermen in the area. The spot for the intended landing site dovetails into the piece of land which houses the only medical facility in the area, the Royal Memorial Hospital. The hospital stands just some 10 meters away from the last standing structure at the shore. The nurses here practically work in fear. Dorcas Mensah is one of the nurses at the surgical theatre of the facility.
Some time ago, we were having a case done at a theatre whilst we've cut a patient's abdomen open, and then all of a sudden we had a shake in the ground, and everything, the towels and then the bed the patient was on, everything sank down, which was very scary.
This 2-kilometer sea defense project is being executed by Sidalco Construction Limited, partly to reclaim some of the lost land and also protect the buildings along the coastline from the devastation of the ocean. Work started here in November 2015 and was to be completed by 2018. But that was not to be, as several challenges including logistical constraints and issues of payment certificates delayed the completion of the project up until now. Charles Owusu is the assemblyman for the Glifig-Begbese electoral area.
And they told us that the sea level is higher than the community. So if we can stay safe here, unless they construct a sea defense for us. Since the construction of the sea defense, you see, they started from Glefe Enclaves, and now here is Akwetema, but they have stopped here. So we called on our MP, which is in the person of Honorable Esla Usu. And she came here last time with, I think, the housing minister or so, and they came and looked at it, and then they said, okay, government have awarded the contract to that same contractor, but the contractor said they need clearance before they can continue the job. So that is how far we have gotten to.
The only facility in the area, the Royal Hospital, stands tall now, but for just a couple more weeks, if nothing is done to ensure that the violent waves are blocked from having access into the homes. Reporting for Joy News, Manuel Kranting.
Back in the studio, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. Now, the $2 billion SINOHYDRO deal was touted as the unprecedented barter arrangement to fix Ghana's infrastructure needs and modernize our roads. But 3 years after Ghana signed the agreement with the Chinese, Joy News is learning that government has so far only managed to access $100 million, with none of the projects completed. This is in spite of the 2020 timeline for their completion. So what happened to the SINOHYDRO money and the project it was to fund? My colleague Evans Mensah has been finding out for Total Recall. Here are excerpts.
Traffic, crazy snaking traffic. As far as the eyes can see, and as you can see behind me, this is the Adenta Dodowa Road. It used to be pretty easy to drive on in the morning and in the evening, but it has become a hotspot for traffic and a great border for those who live on this stretch. There are sprawling communities coming up on this stretch. This all the way to Oyibi, you have Ashiye, and then you also have places on this stretch with upscale middle-class residential areas, which has become pretty attractive for the middle class. The reason why in the last 2 years, this road is possibly one of the most traffic-prone areas in the Greater Accra region. What people have to do in the morning is wake up as early as 3 and 4 a.m. and avoid the main road, because if you stay on the main road, it's going to take you more than 3 hours to make a stretch that would ordinarily take you 20 minutes to travel. So what they do is find alternative routes. Now, this is one of the alternative routes that those who live on this stretch, who have to, on the daily basis, deal with the crazy traffic, have resorted to. These routes, as you can see in the background, is terrible in its own nature. It's not asphalted at all. It has gullies in it. It has craters in it. But people have to bear with that. That is the only way you can dodge the traffic. And it snakes by itself through the meandering communities in the connecting routes that join the main road. And so many have had to resort to this, as you see in the background, risking their own cars, their own health, and of course, having to pump a lot of money in repairing vehicles. For those who live in this particular community and on the stretch from Adenta all the way to Oyibi and Dodowa and beyond, it has become a living hell. But this is one of the roads that was touted a few years back as one that has been approved under the SINOHYDRO deal. It was supposed to have started years ago, but it hasn't started. The promise to get this road fixed and dualized, which was approved by Parliament as part of the first lot of the SINOHYDRO deal, hasn't materialized. And many of the residents in this area and in this community on the stretch are still hopeful that it will happen, that the politicians will keep their promise. How bad is the traffic?
It's very bad. Every day, every time in the day, it's bad.
So what do you do? I mean, I see that you've been trying to dodge it.
Okay, so I live at the Regimental Estate, so I have to go round and round, and the road at the back is so bad. So it's very difficult.
How early do you have to wake up just to dodge the traffic and get into town?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock?
Children ready by 7 so that we can leave home. If they are not able to dualize this road, at least the connecting roads, they should construct them. It would help. Actually, it's bad during the day, at certain times in the day, even on weekends. Yeah, it's bad. It's so bad. They need to help us.
In 2018, the Adenta Dodowa Road was one of 10 lots approved under the Chinese-sponsored SINOHYDRO deal. It was scheduled to begin in 2019. 2 years on, the road remains undone, in a complete state of disrepair, and with traffic congestion worse than anything you have ever experienced anywhere, all day, every day.
Evans Mensah joins me now in the studio for more. Evans, what's the impact of this on those who have not benefited from this SINOHYDRO deal yet?
So, I mean, for the Adenta Dodowa Road, which is one example of the lots that haven't started, as the full documentary, of course, which will add at 8:30 will show you, there are 10 lots that were approved. 6 of these lots have started at various stages of completion. The most advanced is the Tamale interchange, which is 90% complete. The 4 that have not been completed, of course, like the Adenta Dodowa Road, has a tremendous negative impact on those who live on that stretch. I want to read to you something that Kofi Asari of the Africa Education Watch sent me whilst we were on Newsnight, because he had listened. He says, I left my house in Oyibi because of traffic. I spent close to 6 hours driving daily to and from office. My fuel budget was enough to rent in East Legon and still have surplus for fuel. The house is still empty, and I'm a happy tenant. In other words, he has his own house,
but he left it.
He's left it to go and rent
because of the traffic
situation. That is how bad the situation is on that stretch. Morning, dawn, afternoon, evening, there's always traffic. And that's the most annoying part. It also has a toll booth on it. So clearly for people, if the SINOHYDRO deal, the money can come on stream and dualize, because the government in 2018, in fact, the 2020 budget had said that the Adenta Dodowa Road was going to commence actually first quarter of last year. And obviously hasn't started. So if that money comes on, it will change a lot of lives. That stretch is possibly one of the most, in terms of the growing nature of the place, rapidly developing areas. A lot of people are moving in, and so it's constantly always increasing with traffic. And that's not the only place. Other places that I'm pretty sure were supposed to benefit and don't have will also have the same challenges.
So, I mean, government has been trying to justify why this has been the delay. What has government been saying?
So, government explanation is that COVID last year affected the pace of work, and is a reason why, one of the reasons why that's happened. Two is that the projects were supposed to start in phases, and some of the phases that didn't start, but also because the SINOHYDRO arrangement isn't as if the 2 billion was going to be put in government's account for us to access. What the plan was that you would show evidence of work, and then the funds are released to you. Now, it's apparent to me that if that is a structure, it's clear that we haven't done enough work for the SINOHYDRO, the Chinese to release the funds to us in all what we anticipated, because we have almost 650 million that came from the 2 million that was there for us to access if we've done work.
Yeah.
Out of which, so far, we've accessed $100 million of it. So there's still 550 million that is still there for you to access. And the question comes back to, so why haven't we taken advantage of this?
And I heard Dr. Alolo explain that, I mean, the Chinese people will not give you money when they've not seen exactly what you're going to use the money. Yeah, but was that what we were told when the contract was introduced to us?
So that is the explanation in terms of the actual structure of the arrangement. I mean, that has been challenged by the ranking member on the Transport Committee in Parliament, who says the contract that they approved didn't actually say that.
Yep.
But of course, Dr. Alolo insists that that is the structure. I mean, so it's one of the things that it's opened up a lot of questions that we'll definitely still need to go into, because I come back, we shouldn't lose focus on this, which is the starting question. Yep. I come back to why government wanted to do this. Government wanted to do this because they realized that infrastructure, roads, are the biggest challenges people of Ghana face.
Definitely.
And we didn't always have the money to do it. So instead of waiting to mine the bauxite and refine it and sell, which is going to take time, we should make good use of it now, even before we do it.
Yep.
And so they went into this arrangement to do a barter. And we were promised that a lot of the projects are going to come on stream and finish in 3 years.
Yep.
As we've seen, that hasn't happened the way it should. It's a question of government simply, together with the Chinese, indeed, working to ensure that the amount is released. Now, Case Dr. Forsingham makes an important point, which is that it's very possible that for the Chinese government, they are looking at our ability to pay, because they're going to pay with bauxite.
Yep.
If the arrangement for the bauxite isn't ready, for somebody who's going to give you money, is it possible that that is one of the reasons why they're hesitating? Government denies that is the case.
And of course, you mentioned that there are a lot of questions. It raises more questions. Yeah. The more they try to talk, the more it raises more questions. That's why the full episode of Total Recall airs at 8:30 p.m. Right after the bulletin. You need to make a date. And the analysis continues on PM Express at 9 p.m. You need to make a date. But even ahead of that, listen to Dr. Muntaka Alolo, Director of Special Projects and Investor Relations at the Office of the President, defending the situation.
There hasn't been any deviation from how the deal has been structured. In fact, if you read the agreements that went into Parliament, it's clearly stated that these agreements, there will be a commencement date for these projects. And every project will commence based on the day that both parties, all the conditions precedents are met, and they commence. So all the projects they all commence on different days. And actually, I don't know of any agreement that goes to Parliament, gets approval, and construction starts the following day. They have to, most of the time, there are a lot of conditions precedents. This was done, and the commencement date for the first 4 projects, like I said in the morning, was December 2019, which is supposed to be completed within 3 years. They have just done, it is not even up to 2 years since the commencement date of those projects. So if you say no project has been completed, it's as if it's past the completion period where no project has been completed. That's definitely not the case.
Meanwhile, the minority in Parliament is demanding the termination and repackaging of the project, which it says has died owing to government's inability to demonstrate the ability to meet its obligation in the contract. Governs Kwame Agboja is minority spokesperson on the Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament.
Parliament did not approve the 10 lots to be done in piecemeal. They were all called, phase 1, which was supposed to be completed within the same period of time. Why do we say it has failed? Honorable Ato Forsin has already explained. This has nothing to do with PATA. It is purely government running away from adding to the national debt because they need to capture it. So they said it's PATA. But if you read the actual agreement, it is as good as a loan agreement. So the money that has been expended so far will be captured as government debt. If you award a project to a contractor and we are ending the 3rd year, he is not being able to complete one project, the terms of the contract should have made you terminate that project without recourse to even the contractor. The SINOHYDRO does not have the capacity to do all this, and they can't draw down the money which they claim they have, because they probably are also looking to borrow the money from somewhere. So why are we pretending that this SINOHYDRO thing is a live project when after 3 years we can't complete one, and 4 of them actually hasn't even started at all? It's a shame. When we approved this agreement, if you read the parliamentary Hansard, we raised the issue about the capacity of SINOHYDRO being able to do this project, $600 million worth of project within 24 months.
A hospital project meant to offer a lifeline to residents of Kumewu in the Sechere, Afram Plains district of the Ashanti region, is rather impeding development in the area. That's according to Kumewuhine, I beg your pardon, Berima Safo Chenebua Kodia. The 120-bed health facility, which began in 2015 under the Mahama administration, has been abandoned. Addressing members of the minority caucus on the health committee, the Omahine observed that in spite of constant engagement with the contractor, nothing seems to be done about its completion. Parker Wilson is traveling with the minority MPs on the health committee of parliament and joins us with more via Zoom. Parker, exactly how is the situation affecting access to healthcare in that district?
Okay, so in the view of the paramount chief of Kumewu, the point he makes is that people or indigents or residents have to travel long distances when they have critical condition because they don't have specialists to take care of their medical condition. They only have some CHIPS compound. But if you look at the hospital facility we are talking about, these are hospital facilities that would have specialists in there and take care of all kinds of sickness. And so this is the reason the chief believes that it's affecting their lives, so it's impacting negatively on the lives of the people within the area. And then again, it is impeding on socioeconomic activity.
Kwesi Parker Wilson is on this beat for us. He's traveling with the Health Committee of Parliament who have been accessing this. We missed him right there, but he makes the point that the structure is deteriorating and it's impeding access to health care in that district. Now, Director of Communications at the Presidency, Eugene Ahin, says Northern Member of Parliament Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa peddled falsehood in his recent claims that President Akufo had rented luxurious private jets for his recent travels to the UK on the 28th of July 2021 to attend the Global Education Summit and state visit to Germany. Speaking at a press briefing at the Jubilee House, he stated checks revealed the private jet in reference was parked at an airport in France when the president was in the UK. He says while the president was in Germany, the referenced private jet was being used by another African leader for 15 days.
The Minister for Defense, the Minister for Finance have all made it clear, on the floor of Parliament, that issues to do with the president's travel, borders on national security issues. In my last but one press conference, I indicated that the Member of Parliament for North Tohu had peddled falsehoods when he indicated that the president on the 28th of July, when he went to the Global Education Summit in the UK, had used the LXDIO Boeing aircraft. And I indicated again that the North Tohu MP had also peddled falsehoods when he indicated that the president, sometime in August, not September, in August, when he went for the G20 Compact with Africa Summit, had used the same LXDIO aircraft. And I still maintain my position that the MP peddled falsehoods. In his statement that he put out recently, if indeed he claims I peddled falsehood, I'm sure he would have put out the evidence indicating that the president has used these particular jets on these particular days. Of course he didn't. He didn't simply because there's no such evidence. And let me put this on the record. On the 28th of July, when the president attended the Global Global Education Summit in the UK. You can do your own checks, and if you think I'm peddling falsehood, you can expose me. Take your phone, call the company that operates that particular jet and ask them, for example, on the 28th of July, where was that jet? And they will tell you that on the 28th of July, during the entire period of the Global Education Summit, it was for 3 days, that particular jet, the LXDIO jet, was parked at the Paris Le Bourget airport.
But Member of Parliament Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa stands by his claim that the president used a luxurious private jet to the UK.
Apart from providing details on the LXDIO, I have also provided incontrovertible evidence, unimpeachable, I must add, that the presidential jet of Ghana was here in Ghana. It was not used by the president. A day after, the presidential jet was flown to France, by who we do not know, around the 29th of August. The presidential jet was flown to Kumasi subsequently. It was flown to Zambia. 2 other periods that the president was in Germany and in the United Kingdom. I mean, look, we've done painstaking work. And in the aviation industry, these matters are easily verifiable. Just key in the LXDIO and you can track its movement. And you will see that the LXDIO came to Ghana, was flown to Ghana, and airlifted the president to the Global Education Summit and to that was in the UK. Subsequently, he flew the president to Germany.
And so to come in this bulletin, M-Business threats the inflation rate and growth force monetary policy committee of the Bank of Ghana to maintain policy rate at 13.5%.
You would see that the monetary policy rate itself is at 13.5%. So we have done our part in signaling the direction of interest rates. Unfortunately, that transmission to the longer dated instruments will depend on the stance of fiscal policy.
And welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aite. Threats to inflation rate and growth have forced the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana to maintain its policy rate. The committee kept its key lending rate for commercial banks at 13.5%. This is the 3rd time since May that it has left it unchanged. George Rafi has more in this report.
The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, in announcing the new policy rate of 13.5%, noted that there are still some other sectors in the economy that are yet to pick up, hence the decision to keep the rate unchanged. On issues about reduction in interest rates in the country, the governor noted that a lot more still needs to be done on the fiscal side to drive down the cost of lending in the country.
You would see that the monetary policy rate itself is at 13.5%. So we have done our part in signaling the direction of interest rates. Unfortunately, that transmission to the longer dated instruments will depend on the stance of fiscal policy. And until we see effective fiscal consolidation, you would continue to see this stiffness in the longer dated end of the curve, and it buttresses the importance of further fiscal consolidation to reduce the demand for funds to finance the budget.
The governor of the Bank of Ghana was optimistic that inflation rate would end the year still within the projected target, assuring that there is no need for us to panic. On the Ghana City, Dr. Ernest Addison said they are taking the required measures to deal with the recent pressures on the local currency.
This is really the decision that we took because we thought that the risk from both ends were balanced, right? We're looking at the risk of higher inflation and the risk of a lower growth, and on the basis of that, we left the rate where it was. So we expect that going forward, inflation would continue to stay within our target band. Obviously, if we sense that we have a higher risk of going outside that target band, then we would be required to act. And for now, we don't think that that would occur.
This is what the governor of the Bank of Ghana had to say on issuance of more coins rather than notes for the 1 cedi and 2 cedis.
You would recall that this was a note that was issued as a commemorative note. So commemorative notes are not notes that you continue to print, right? And therefore, what we have done in the last 2 years is to introduce the 2 cedi Ghana coin, right? And the 2 cedi Ghana coins, I believe, are circulating, and you would expect that eventually they would more or less play the role that the 2 cedi notes are playing.
Away from that, each Ghanaian is expected to pay a little above 10,000 cedis, 900. That's 10,900 cedis actually, if the 335.9 billion cedi public debt is shared among the population of 30.8 million people. The country's debt went up by 3.5 billion cedis in June and July to hit 335.9 billion cedis. It is equivalent to 76% of the total value of goods and services produced within the Ghanaian economy. However, the rate of borrowing appears to have slowed down based on the data from the Bank of Ghana. The increase in the public debt stock was largely from the surge in the domestic debt, which shot up by 3.1 billion cedis. Take a listen to Dr. William Pepe of the Valley View University have his analysis on this development.
Debt borrowing from domestic is around 24.5 billion, which is equal to the item 1 item. The moment government decides to admit and pay labor a higher wage based on the situation what is happening in the country, government might have to go and borrow more money to be able to meet this request.
Well, you have called on government to stay within its budget. It's quite clear from your perspective that government isn't staying within its budget. How does government, maintain its spending discipline?
The government must look at some of the expenditure items, recurrent expenditure items, which they can do away with or maybe postpone. And once they're able to do that, we'll be able to stay within the budget. The critical factor is that government wants to do projects like the project 111. Where government is going to get the money from is a little bit of challenge, which means that probably monies that we are supposed to use for other expenditure items will have to be channeled. It's going to have a major impact.
All right. Well, the National Petroleum Authority has assured that it is keenly monitoring activities of oil marketing companies to avoid matters regarding cartels. We have details shortly in our second segment, but that's how we end business. I'm Charles Aite. We have sports coming next. Just stay.
Many thanks for staying with us. Time to bring you sport. I am Hans Mensah, and the Black Stars head coach Milovan Rajvac has named a provisional list of 32 players for Ghana's World Cup qualifiers against Zimbabwe. The Black Stars will host the Warriors in Cape Coast before travelling to Zimbabwe for the return fixture. The list includes debutant Jojo Wollacott, a goalkeeper from English fourth-tier side Swindon Town. And you can see on your screen the full list as has been released by the Black Stars head coach. There is Lawrence Atizigi, Richard Atta and Ibrahim Danlad, as well as Jojo Wollacott of Swindon Town. Defenders are Philemon Balfour of Dreams FC, Andrew Yiadom of Reading FC, Ismail Ghani of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Gideon Mensah plays for Bordeaux, Baba Abdurrahman plays for Reading FC, Daniel Amate is with Leicester City, Joseph Edu of Celta Vigo, Jonathan Mensah gets successive call-ups, plays for Columbus Crew, Alexander Jiku, fast becoming a regular in the Black Star setup, plays for Strasbourg in France. There is midfielders Thomas Partey, Baba Idrisu of Real Mallorca, Alfred Duncan makes a return to the team, plays for Fiorentina in the Italian Serie A. Emmanuel Lobote is with Amiens and Mubarak Wakasu with Shenzhen FC. Mohamed Kudus makes a return after his injury. Majid Ashimeru also in there, Kofi and Abdul Fattah Isahaku, the best player at the African Under-20 Championship. The forwards are Andre Ayew of Al Sadd, Kamaldeen Suleiman, Tariq Fosu of Brentford, Joel Famie, Yao Yeboah, Samuel Owusu, Jordan Ayew, Caleb Ekuban also making a return to the side. Emmanuel Jesse plays for Spezia, and Benjamin Tete of Yeni Metalliaspor. Still on the Black Stars head coach. Now, despite calls for an unqualified apology from Milovan Rajevac, his refusal to renew his contract with the Black Stars after the 2010 World Cup. Communications Director of the Ghana Football Association, Henry Asante-Chum, says the Serbian does not owe anybody an apology. There is more in this report.
Milovan Rajevac was appointed the head coach of the Black Stars in 2008 after coaching a number of clubs in his native Serbia, including powerhouse Red Star Belgrade. He led Ghana to a second-place finish in the 2010 Africa Cup of Nations before guiding the team to its first ever World Cup quarter-final berth. The 67-year-old did not renew his contract when it expired in September 2010. According to the communications director of the Ghana Football Association, Henry Asante, Ghana could do nothing about the Serbia's contract situation at the time.
Milo worked for 1 month after the expiration of his contract in 2010. He wanted to continue. He mentioned it at the at the press conference, the unveiling press conference, that he would have loved to stay with us, but the circumstances didn't allow him. And at that time, his contract elapsed in June, just I think 2 days or so after we were eliminated by Uruguay. And then he comes back to Ghana. The FA is not forthcoming with information. Okay. He doesn't know the way forward. Offers are on the table. If you were Milo in 2010, what would you have done? So he felt we weren't ready to renew his contract at the time, and that's why he walked away.
Many football fans want Milovan Rajevac to render an unqualified apology as he begins his second stint with the Black Stars. But for Henry Asante, Milovan Rajevac does not owe anybody an apology.
Personally, I think he owes us no apology, honestly. And it's one of the things he spoke about when we unveiled him. He says he feels he has an unfinished business with Ghana because he would have really loved to continue with us, but for the circumstances that he met after the 2010 World Cup. So let's move on.
The first assignment of Milovan Rajevac is a 2022 World Cup qualifier against Zimbabwe on October 12 at the Cape Coast Stadium.
And that'll be all for sport. You can read more at myjoyonline.com/sport. I am Hans Mensah. Many thanks for your time.
Time now for showbiz. Becky is here. We started already.
Yes.
How are you doing, Becky?
I'm fantastic. How
great,
are you?
Great. I'm doing well. I'm only a bit worried about the issue, R. Kelly's issue.
I was looking forward to this case, and well, it looks like it's ended.
And it's been running for some time now, but of course, it's a pity. But if you bring it here home, it happens here too.
Yeah.
But who speaks for those people? This is because it's outside the country, but here in Ghana, who has
people
the nerve to even go
that
to court
is the problem,
to sue people?
We don't have people coming out to have a conversation.
I think they should come out and speak about it. So that
I'm not too sure they will. But if anybody,
people shouldn't be subjected to sexual abuse before you can offer help to them. Becky, if you want to use your platform, use your voice for someone out there, do you have to subject them through all this?
No,
it's
you don't
not
have
right.
to. I agree.
It's definitely not right. Yeah. So what about Tego Sisters?
Well, we're celebrating Joy Entertainment. We're celebrating Tego Sisters this Friday for their contribution to the gospel music industry, the number of songs that they've churned out, the number of lives that they've touched. And it's a beautiful reason to celebrate them. That's what we do.
Definitely.
And so we have, a package on Tego Sisters.
Call them the Music Magic Sisters, and you won't be far from the truth. Tego Sisters is the name of a musical duo consisting of twins Lydia Dede Yosini Tego and Elizabeth Kokoi Tego. They have been singing in the gospel music industry since 1983. Lydia Dedeyos Tego and Elizabeth Kokoi Tego, who are twins, were born to the late Hammond Ayikwe Tego and Madame Feriza Edu on 27th July 1965. In 1983, they joined the Open Bible Church International, where they met the male singing group, the Advent Heralds. They backed the Advent Heralds at their public performances. In 1985, they met the late Reverend Francis Akwesiamuakon, who became their mentor. Under his guidance, they toured far and wide, both in and out of Ghana, and gained fame. Their first album, Nyame Yekese, which was written by the Advent Heralds, was released in 1987. Orichiche and Stay in My Heart followed in 1988. In March 2021, the group was honored by the organizers of 3 music awards in an event called the 3 Music Women's Branch. Joy Entertainment celebrates the evergreen Tego Sisters.
Any into me one day. Nasa worry chicha na dum shirens. Oh, maybe so.
Oh wow, you have a very beautiful
They're
voice.
great twins. I think I like them, and I love their music.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Mercy Asiedo, on the other hand, says that she hasn't been celebrated enough. That's not exactly what she's looking forward to.
After 25 years of Kumawood.
Yeah, she hasn't been celebrated enough, but she is focused on, doing quality movies and entertaining, and also educating the populace.
And she's doing great, I think.
No.
Yeah.
Because even as for my within our
Circle,
our circle, the industry, they are not celebrating. They are. I don't know how to use the word. Even they don't support, or they don't.
They don't see what they don't appreciate
anything
what
good.
you do.
They don't appreciate what we are doing. But what I am thinking is, I'm not doing it for people or for. I just want to educate, and I just want to show our culture and tradition, just like that. I'm not expecting any. Celebrating or whatever from anybody. If people can celebrate me, I will appreciate it. If they are not celebrating me, I'm doing what I can do.
That's just Mercy Asiedu for you. And
that'll be all for Showbiz.
Oh, and that's so quick.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for bringing us Showbiz. That's Becky for you. And that'll be it for Showbiz. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. To the rest of our stories. Rice is one of the major food staples consumed in Ghana, but one in which the country is food insecure, with consumption outstripping domestic production and more than half of rice consumed being imported. The economic cost of relying on imported rice are high and rising. Ghana has set an ambitious target of ending rice imports by 2023-2024 crop season. In a tour to the Volta region, Agric Minister Dr. Owusu Akotefrie visited a local rice factory in Sogakope and explained that the target is on course. My colleague Kwekwa Sante is with the team and now reports.
Ghana imports over $200 million worth of rice annually. This is a development some stakeholders have described as worrying. As part of his tour of the Volta region to see firsthand the challenges plaguing the nation's agri sector and have a personal interaction with farmers, Agri Minister Dr. Owusu Akoche-Friye visited one of the largest local rice factories. At the factory, he reiterated government's quest to cut totally the country's importation of rice by 2023.
You know, last year we estimated that there are only 450,000 metric tons of milling capacity. Our target is to do 1.2 million, so it's just 1/3. And this infusion of capacity that we are importing from Brazil and subsequently also from India and China should be able to meet this gap so that we can mill all the paddy that our farmers are producing. The farmers are producing rice now, not only in the savannah in the north, but we are encouraging rapid production in the valleys, in the forest belt, forest regions, the 6 forest regions of Ahafo, Bono East, Ashanti, Eastern region, Western region, Central region. And it's going very, very well. So once we are able to break the constraint of milling capacity, then we are on course for Ghana to be self-sufficient in rice production.
According to Dr. Owusu Akoche-Friye, he is confident Ghana can achieve its goal of rice self-sufficiency.
As I speak to you, the Ministry for Food and Agriculture, in anticipation of the rapid expansion of rice production. If you remember, we've promised the people of this country that by 2023-2024, Ghana will be self-sufficient in rice. In preparation, the biggest bottleneck is not the farmer or the land or the seed. It's to do with the amount of milling capacity.
Global Agri-Development Company runs this rice factory that produces at least 700 bags of 25 kilograms rice per day. Joel Chachu is general manager of the company. He's also optimistic that with the right investment, this goal can be met.
Yes, we can be rice sufficient in Ghana. So we are one of the big players and there are others that are coming up. And so with this, I think that in the future, we can be there.
The company runs entirely on rice produced locally and has in the process created a partnership between the company and local producers. One of the cardinal principles of the Planting for Food and Jobs program is to make the country produce what it consumes, in the process creating jobs and sustainable livelihood, and in extension, weaning the country of import dependence. Whilst the program has chalked some significant success, there are still some teething problems that must be tackled head-on, including the availability of fertilizers and other farming inputs. Without this, the country's import bill may even rise and shoot through the roof. For Joy News, Kweku Asante, reporting from Sogakope in the Volta region.
Roads and Highways Minister Kwesi Amoakwata is lamenting over the sea of people who bid for road projects without the needed resources. He noted that road projects are capital intensive and those who want to enter into that venture should not come with empty hands. He says from next week, the ministry intends to change the narrative and hence advised all those who wish to bid for road projects to be well prepared before going into that venture. Kwesi Amoakwata was speaking at a press conference in Wa.
Roads and Highways Minister Kwesi Amoakwata climaxed a 3-day inspection of roads and bridges that has been washed off by violent flash floods on August 12 in the Upper West region with a press conference. He stated that a total of 106 projects have been awarded in the region and work is currently ongoing and they are putting a close eye on them.
All the 106 ongoing projects, contractors are on, but I cannot say that all the sites are active. As for that, we keep monitoring them. Those that are active are going to be supported as we have been doing to complete the works. If there are 1, 2, 3 that are inactive for whatever reason, we shall work it out.
Kwesi Amoakwata warned that they will not hesitate to terminate the contract of any of the contractors if they underperformed.
And that contractor, no matter who you are, no matter your size, no matter your pedigree, once you can perform, I have the moral courage and the moral authority to knock you off, and you'll be knocked off and replaced by a more competent person. So people should rest assured that we are monitoring every contractor, not only in the region, across the nation.
The Roads and Highways Minister admonished prospective contractors who have their eyes on bidding for road contracts would have been resourceful to stay away, as in the coming weeks, the narrative will change.
From next week, we are taking steps to stop that. Don't come into that industry empty-handed. They must be prepared. We are in a country that everybody wants to be a contractor. Ghana, everybody wants to be a contractor. Everybody must be prepared to come. It's open to everybody, yes. Any Ghanaian has the right to be a contractor, but come also prepared to help yourself, to help government, and to help the people of this country.
The Roads and Highways Minister further assured the people of the country that following the success story of the 2020 year of roads is being extended into the year 2021.
Whether surface dressing, whether asphaltic overlay, whether bridges, whether interchanges are robustly and briskly going on across the length and breadth of this country, across all the 16 regions of the nation, across all the 260 districts of our country, and it will continue. And roads are being fixed, and the manner and the speed with which Ghanaian roads are being worked on is unprecedented.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
And back here in Accra and in the studio, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. We take a break on Joy News Prime. We'll bring you more business and sports. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. There are two different people with two perspectives about fun trips and travels. Although Alfred Peterson, a rich businessman, had the means to finance a trip, he had never traveled before because he thought it was a waste of resources. Now, Gimpa graduate said Ahlijah thinks otherwise and will spend the little she has to travel to see other parts of the world. The two were part of those who featured in Joy Prime Explore, the Dubai expedition. Maxwell Agbagba has the rest of the story.
One of the amazing people I met on my trip to Dubai was businessman Alfred Patterson. He's rich and has the resources to fund a fun trip to see other parts of the world, but never did because he thought it was a waste of time and resources. But his views about traveling changed after he was convinced by his wife to take part in the Adansi Travel's first trip to Dubai after the borders were opened.
I don't have the time. I work from 9 in the morning, late at 12 before I go home. So I don't have the time to travel. At the time we got to the airport, I was like, wow. Because it's different. The environment is different. Yeah, it's very peaceful. It's calm. I asked myself, is this place in the world? It was my wife's idea. Okay. I normally say, traveling to go and do what? Go and spend money and get nothing out of it. And I'm like, my wife said, no, you have to go. You've worked all your life and you've never gotten any rest, not even for a day. It has changed my understanding of living and how people live, our way of living, how other people live in their country. So I would love to travel to other places.
So Dubai, 10th time? Wow.
Yes.
That's nice, that's impressive. Unlike him, a Gimpa graduate, said Ahlijah enjoys to travel and will even spend her scarce resources to fund a fun trip to see new places. It is her third time to Dubai. So I asked her what the attraction is.
Okay. To do shopping, I mean. So yeah, all of that.
So that's why probably.
Dubai, because it's the place for relaxation, actually.
Okay.
Everybody knows Dubai is a place for relaxation.
Huh.
Yeah.
But there are many cities in the world where you can visit, so why Dubai?
Okay, so my first time, I was curious, right? I wanted to know what, Ghanaians always talk about Dubai. So I was like, okay, I'd like to try. The COVID, it's been really hard on all of us.
Yeah.
We are tired.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, you are here with me because, we are all tired of this COVID thing. So I felt like most of the countries aren't open yet, but Dubai is open for tourists. So I decided, why not?
You call it affordable, but there are a lot of people who think that it's not worth it spending money, to travel, although we all know the therapeutic, effects of it. Tell me, for you, what does it mean? What does traveling mean to you?
First off, I studied hospitality and tourism in Gempa, so I know I'm in this field, the tourism thing. So for me, it gives me new experience. Even though I've been here several times, and this is my third time, it's like a new experience all over again.
Dubai is conservative, just as it is religious. This belly dancer here is proof of how accommodating and tolerant Dubai is. Meet Eduaba Moore. She's a Ghanaian enjoying the scenery here. She says she's excited. The world is gradually opening up after the coronavirus pandemic brought it to a screeching halt.
It feels good. It feels a bit relaxing. Not a bit, but it feels relaxing. And I love it here in Dubai. I mean, with everything I'm seeing, with the lightning and everything, I think, it's so beautiful. I like it here. I like it here.
What's the desert safari like for you?
Oh my God, that was, I won't say scary, adventurous. Actually, let me put it that way. It was nice. It was nice. We are not in normal times. Yeah. We are in COVID time.
My name is Dokas Ofusuwasante. I can't even imagine. It's a roller coaster of emotions and feelings. Yeah.
And that's it for the bulletin tonight. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. Stay tuned in for the full episode of Total Recall, which is right after this bulletin. And for more news, log on to myjoyonline.com for more. Enjoy the rest of our programs.
Hello, my name is Evans Mensah, and you can relive all the fun and excitement on Top Story, Newsnight, and of course, Ghana Connect via podcast. All you need to do is to log on to myjoyonline.com/podcast. Search for your favorite show and relive the moment. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Hello and welcome to Springboard, your virtual university